All right, awesome. Thank you. All right, everybody. Sorry for that. Welcome to Automation Hour. This is our 99th episode. Pretty exciting. Wow. All right, if you're joining us for the first time, all lines will be muted. So if you have any questions, post them out to the Trailblazer Community Salesforce Automation Hour. We'll be taking your questions there. And then sometime after the session, we will post the link to the recording as well as the deck out on our website, automationhour.com. And then we'll communicate that out also on our Trailblazer Community Salesforce Automation Hour. And we only have 2 more sessions left for the rest of the year, and we have our initial lineup for 2021. So definitely sign up for that. You can go to automationhour.com and sign up for those. Even if you can't attend live, you will get a link to the recording after the fact. And we're excited to have a lot of returning presenters as well as first-time presenters. So looking forward to their sessions. And we can't bring this webinar series to you for free without our sponsor, Concrete.io. So thank you, thank you, thank you. And here are your co-hosts, myself, Rakesh, and David. Hope to see you at an in-person event sometime in the future when all of this goes away. And I am excited to have Jodie on for the first time at a time frame that works for her since she's in Australia. So she is a fellow MVP. We're really excited for the topic that she's going to talk about, platform events and flows. So without further ado, let me hand that over to Jodie. And you should have control now.
Great, thank you. Good morning, all. It is 7 a.m. here, and I need to show my screen. So that one. So let me know when you can see my face on the screen.
Yes, we see your presentation.
Okay, right. So hi, I'm Jodie Miners. I am a Salesforce MVP, Salesforce registered partner, co-leader of the Melbourne user group, and I've just recently become Salesforce system architect on top of Salesforce application architect. So that's a little bit about me, and I want to get right into my presentation. So what I normally do is I've got my wiki and I allow you to follow along with my with what I'm talking about. So if you want to grab this URL right now, you can actually just follow along, and everything that I'm talking about is on this page on my wiki. And so because this is a big presentation, so what I've tried to do is put all of the questions that you might have, that you might come up with, like, why are you doing this, what's the issue that you're trying to solve. I've really tried to document that along with all the links, so you can follow along there if you like. And then as soon as the video's up, I will also post it on there. Okay, so we're talking about platform events in flows. And, you know, you can go to the developer guide for platform events. There's a trailhead for platform events, some really excellent technical in-depth blog posts. But actually, I don't even need you to know about platform events to get some benefit out of using platform events in flows. But when you hear some of these really weird terms that, you know, about like enterprise service bus and web queues and, you know, microservices, etc., just know that platform events is the glue that holds all of these things together. Or sorry, these things called events or event-driven architecture is the glue that holds all of these things together. It's a way we integrate with a lot of different websites. This is one way. There are many other ways to integrate. So when you hear these words, what we talk about in Salesforce is platform events. So all we really need to know to use them in flows is that platform events are just like custom objects in some ways, and they're just like triggers in some ways, okay? And that a flow can be triggered via a platform event. And the other thing to know is publishing a platform event is as simple as creating a record in the flow. So basically, I just want you to be not scared of platform events and just see whether platform events is useful for you in using it in flows. So we're going to do a demo of using the platform events to do a chain series of actions with an unknown wait time. So this is a real world scenario that I have in one of my orgs. I look after multiple client orgs, and this is definitely a real world scenario. So I've got a website that's a bit difficult to use, and I send over some data, and so I've got a bit of a diagram here. So I send over some data to the website, and it requires this data in particular order. I've got to have, in this case, my demo that I've set up here, I've got a property and a broker that go into the website. Before I can send my property over to the website, I need to have the broker set up on the website. So this is, so I've got to check, does the broker already exist on the website? If not, send the broker over to the website, wait for the website to create the broker. And this is where this asterisk is. The website will take an indeterminate amount of time. It won't be, within milliseconds. So therefore, putting all of this forward and backwards into the same transaction in Salesforce is just too long. But we still want the users to be notified that the website has either failed or succeeded, and the property is now on the website. So that's what we're doing, and that's the main demo, and then I'll show you a few other things that you can do with platform events. So let's jump right into the flow. So here's my flow, property created on the website. So I've had to mock some of this up because, again, I'm replicating a real world thing. So what we're going to do is assume that these two subflows are the bit of code where I send things across to the website. I've just mocked them up as a subflow for now. But the main thing is here. We first of all check whether the broker is on the website already. And then this is where we use the pause element with a platform event. To go to the website, after it's sent to the website, the flow pauses, and then it waits until the platform event has fired. Okay, so this is our pause condition, and when we hit this, we're always pausing. There's you can have conditions here, but we just always pausing, and we only resume when a platform event message is received. So we can see here our pause element has two things, the specified time or platform event. So specified time is handy for doing waits where we can set as 0 hours, and then just break up our transaction and our flow. But a platform event is the other way we can resume from this pause. So I've also filtered this platform event to say, so when I create the platform event, I'm going to create it with a record ID of this broker, and this flow stage is just a way I can control which platform event is firing at this time, because I've got one platform event that I've used for both of these pauses in this flow. And so I've just put in a value here so that I can control this later. So that's what the pause element looks like. And then so after it comes back, after the platform event is fired, and I'll show you that in a second, we again push across the website now because we've got the broker ID from the website now. We again pause, exactly the same process to wait for the property to be created. Then we update the property, set the status, and we notify the users. I really love notifications because the users don't have to wait around. And then really what we should have here is a notification based on error or success. And we notify the user either error or success that the website has actually been done. So the users can click the button to send it over to the website, and they don't have to wait around, but they will then get notified that something has happened. So let's look at the platform event now. So here's my platform events, and I've got this one platform event, and I'm using from multiple different things because I'm passing in this value to control it. So we can see here platform events is how we get here, and we can see that this looks just like a custom object. Okay, there's a few little things about it that's different, but really the only thing we need to know, it's just like a custom object. We can see here I've created some custom fields. So I've created this field called flow stage, which is just a text where I can just pass in a text value, and I've got a record ID, and then I've got the website, the ID coming back from the website. And so this platform event, I'm going to publish this to control the flow. So how do we publish a platform event? When it comes back from the, when it goes across to the website does its stuff, and the website updates what the website will do is update the website ID, and I'll show you that as we go through the demo. After that website ID has been updated onto the broker record, all we're doing is running a record triggered flow, and this is an after save flow on the broker when the website ID is not null. Now I realized last night that probably I should do only when the record is updated to meet the condition requirements. So you need a gate here so it doesn't happen every single time. So if we said website ID is null false, and only when this record is updated to meet the condition requirements, then we're going to create the record. And this is exactly like creating a record in Flow. And I'm just passing in the flow stage, and I've called it broker create. It's just a text field, so I can then control what's happening. So this is only going to create with this value. And then I'm passing in the record ID, creating the platform event to have the record ID. So that will go back to the other flow and satisfy the conditions for the resume event. Okay, excuse that behind me, that noise is my coffee machine turning off, sorry. Okay, so that's how we create the platform events. We create a record which publishes the platform event. Okay, so let me just get where I'm at. Okay, so what I've done for this demo is I've set up a mock website. So this is a website that's just showing the status of my properties and the status of my brokers. I can see that Michael Jones is already created on the website. So if I look at Michael Jones, his details are already there. And if I look at Victor, his details are not there. Okay, so my demo property is not working properly, so let me just have a look. So this one is my demo property. So what, just so that you can follow along to the screen. So status is pre-market. All right. So if I now look at my property list on my website, this is my mock website. I've now got Caroline Kingsley, her details aren't on the website. So anyway, hang on a second, broker. So Victor's details aren't on the website. So I've just done the demo a few too many times. So we can see here, this person's not on the website, this person is on the website. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to start the flow now, and I've got the flow created so the flow is an auto launch flow. We can't do wait elements in screen flows or in flow triggers. So I've just, for this mock-up, I've just done it as a button that launches a auto launch flow. So it's not a good user experience. So you've got to really think about the user experience when you're doing this. But let's just run the flow anyway. And what's going to happen is actually nothing really. The flow is just going to start. And this is the not good user experience that you wouldn't have for your real users. But what's it's done, so on our flow, it's gotten to this point. So we now have a paused flow interview. So if we come back to here and refresh our paused flow interview screen, we will see that we've got a paused flow interview. So the flow has gone out to the website and is now waiting for the website to do its thing. Normally this takes between 1 and a few seconds. So that where I'm slowing this down so that we can see this demo. So I'm controlling the timing. So I've got this pause flow element where we've got the wait for broker. So that's from our flow where we've got that wait for broker. And so let's go back to our broker form for Caroline, and we're going to now do the thing that the website is doing, which is creating the record on the website and sending back to Salesforce this website ID. So I'm just going to set this website ID. That paused flow interviews here will now be finished because the flow has now resumed from that platform event. And now we have a new pause flow interview because we're now up to this stage. So we've got the ID for the website, for the broker. So now the flow can go on. It's now creating the property on the website, and we're waiting for the website to create the property. So on our property list, if I go to the architectural details property and I submit, that shouldn't have had an ID in there, but if I submit that property, it's going to, that's, my demo's not going to work. All right, we'll try it one more time. All right, so stuffed up my demo. Give me 1 second. We'll just come back to here. We'll submit. I'll have no ID because it's got to wait for the ID to be there. Okay. All right, let's just reset our property. This is what happens when you test your demo too many times. So we're still on pre-market. It's not on the property is not on the website. Okay, let's try that again. So we've got our auto launch flow is probably not waiting anymore. So it is. Okay. Yes, because it hadn't met the conditions where the property ID had been updated. Okay, so now let's update the property ID and we'll submit that. And next thing that should happen is our pause flow interview should go away because we've now met the conditions. So our pause flow interview has gone away, and what the user has seen is that they've got a notification. Okay, so they've got a notification saying, hey, the property has been created on the website, and here is the property. It's now available on the website. It's got the on the website flag, and if I come back to my website, I can now see that the property is created on the website. So really that is the demo in a nutshell. And you can see here, I've put in some extra things here where I've shown where the platform event has fired. So I've just created a chatter post when the platform event gets fired so we can see. So the funny thing with platform events is that you can't actually see them. You can't query them like you can with standard records. So this idea when we're doing our testing is to put some chatter posts in after the platform event is fired so that we can definitely see what has happened, and then after we're ready to go, then we can turn all that off. So that is that process. We got the records, we went sent the broker across, waited for the website to update the broker, then we could send the property across. If we were to send the property across the second time, it would just skip this flow because we've already got the broker there. And we sent the property, and then we've updated the records, we posted to chatter, and we notified the users. So that's and what I've got in my flow is I've got 3 gate levels. So why would I do it in a flow? Why can't I just do it as 3 separate flows? Because I want all of that control in one easy to manage flow. So I want to see all of the bits. I might have another subflow that calls off after, that does all this bit after the pause, but I just want to have all that conditions. And if I had 3 different flows, I'd have to manage that conditions of when that other flow is called or not called. So just having this decision and different subflows is actually a really nice way of handling it. So it's just a nice little pattern that you can use to handle waiting. And the other thing that I have is I've got instead of going out to a website and coming back, I use this in a scenario where I've got a batch process. I've got 2 big batch processes that run. It takes a few seconds for it to run. and it needs to run one batch process, then another batch process if I'm manually updating one record. If I manually want to recalculate the record, it's got to go and run two different processes. So again, I can use this scenario where I run the batch process, excuse me. I run the batch process, update the record. On the updating of that record, then fires the next platform event. So that's our first scenario. So the next scenario we're going to look at as to how we can use platform events in flows is to replace the wait function. So the wait or pause element, it used to be wait, it's now called pause. You can't do many things with the new flow triggers yet. So there's, we're trying to work out a few workarounds, and this is a bit of a workaround to not being able to have the wait element inside a flow trigger. However, probably what you want to do is just still keep using Process Builder for these things that you can't do in Flow, but this is just to show you that there is possible. So what's my scenario? I've got in a case where I've got a whole heap of lookup, the DLRS lookup rollup summaries that I have to have on one of my records, where I don't want the transaction to slow down. Now, this is just one where I'm updating the property, the account record based on the property, the total assessed values of all the properties within that local government area. And I've just got this one for this demo, but in my case, I've got about 20 different roll-ups that I want to run, and I don't want to have the transactions slowing down to run all those roll-up summaries. If it's just got one or two, you just set the calculation mode to be trigger and to be real time, and it triggers, and all that's fine. So this is one scenario. There's some different issues with this, and I've detailed that out in my blog post. But this is just one scenario, just to give you an idea. So in our flows, we've got this after create property, after create active. So instead of doing so this is a record triggered flow after the record created, when the property is set to be available, like we just set in the other flow, it's going to create the platform event, okay? And again, I've just used the same platform event, and I've just passed in a different value to do a different flow control. And I've said this where the local government area is active. And again, passing in the record ID. So this is exactly the same as we would do if we're just doing a wait on, if we had the ability to do a pause element on this, on a record triggered flow. You can do the pause element in Process Builder, you can do the pause element in auto launch flows, just not in the record triggered flows yet. Hopefully it'll come. And so all that flow does is publish a platform event. So then we go to the auto launch flow that is triggered from a platform event. So just so you know that you can now control what is displayed on this list view. And so I've added this trigger column. So this is really useful for using the new record triggered flows. And we can see here, this one is triggered from a platform event. So when that platform event fires from the previous flow, it will fire immediately. I'm just now the other thing is that you cannot set conditions on platform event triggered flows. Okay, so there's no conditions like there is on standard objects. So I've just got a decision here where I'm saying, well, let's just only run this decision section where we've got that flow stage of that value that I passed in. And then I'm going to run all of my DLRSs. I've got one here, but I'm going to run 20 or 30 of them, however many I want here. Okay, so all of that does is breaks up the transaction. So the user hits save, their record, their screen is displayed back to them with their values, and it goes and updates the account record. They don't need to see the account record updated at the time they've updated that property record. This will just happen behind the scenes in a timely manner, which is not going to slow the users down. So anytime you've got some high touch objects that maybe have managed packages on it, and you don't want to have all these triggers happening all at the same time, you want to have control over when your triggers fire or when your calculations fire. Doing a wait element and separating that transaction out is a really nice way of handling that. Okay, so that's that scenario. The next scenario is, again, back on my website. Say I've got a website where I've got they've now gone through the process and they've now sold a property. So on the website, I'm going to have a process where they go through and do the sale, and they do the document signing and all that sort of stuff. But we need to let Salesforce, our backend system, Salesforce, know that the property has been signed. So this is a very, very standard process that happens in any integration. So what will happen is the website will send a REST API call back. So give me 1 second. So first of all, I'm going to authenticate to my Salesforce org. So I'm here logged in. So this is the Postman collection for Salesforce that Salesforce people have created, and so I've just authenticated to my org. And what I'm going to do here is I've got the platform event is called property sale. Okay, so I'll show you that platform event in a second, and I'm mocking up here what the website is sending back. So a real REST API call. So the website in this case is authenticated to Salesforce as an authenticated user, as the integration user. So the website is authenticated. This is an important thing about this flow process. And the website is just sending this REST API call to Salesforce, and it's going to hit a platform event. Why would it hit a platform event rather than just a regular standard object? Why wouldn't it just hit property sale? It could, right? There are different reasons why you would want platform events, and I've detailed that out in my blog post. So this is just one way. There's always 10 ways to skin this cat. Sorry, cats. So here on this thing, I'm just sending some values over the authorization, like that would be the thing to say this is officially sold. I've got the broker ID, I've got whatever discount they applied, I've got the property ID, and I've got the sale price. So let's have a look at what's going to happen with that in the end. So property sold. So after the property is sold, it's going to triggers a platform event. So after the property sale platform event is published, it's going to update the property, post a chatter, and notify the user. So basically, when the user's sitting around using their Salesforce as they would normally, they're just going to get this notification saying, hey, a property is sold. So that's, they don't have to think about it. They don't have to go and check the property. They just have to wait there, and a notification will be sent. So let's send this REST API call that is going to create that platform event. So we've got here status 201 of created. And an interesting thing about using platform events, it doesn't say, it says 201 there, but it doesn't say, this has got the strange error message here. This strange message, operation enqueued, that means that the platform event has been published. So when we go back to our properties, we can see a notification. We've been going out and doing something else. Now we can see a notification. Hey, a property is sold. Here's our broker, Victor, our sale price. And as soon as we click on this notification, we can get the details of what the discount was, the price sold, and the status is now under agreement. Okay, so that is, one way of using an integration with an external system to use platform events to then do other flow things in Flow to then benefit the users. Okay, so our fourth scenario is a very unknown, underused standard feature of platform events in Salesforce, which is the fact is that there is a standard platform event called, let me just get the word, that happens on flow execution. So it's called the flow execution error event. That is a standard platform event. There's about 5 or 6 standard platform events. I've got the link to the documentation for you. And this is the one that we can use to trigger do a notification or do an email or do whatever. In this case, I'm doing a notification. So, and it's the flow execution error event, platform event. So I've got this flow that is triggered on that platform event being raised. Now we can't control when this platform event is published. It is just published by Salesforce. Every single time there's a flow error. Now it's only for screen flows. So that's this big limitation at the moment. So it's a bit annoying. So it'd be lovely if it could be for all sorts of flows, but at the moment it's only for screen flows. I don't know if it's coming, hopefully it is. So this platform, and this is the thing with platform events, they just get published and you can have one thing subscribe to that platform event and that thing can be another flow, or you can just ignore it. It just happens behind the scenes and you don't even do anything with it, or you can even have multiple things subscribed to the platform event. So where I had both the chatter post being created on the platform event and the flow being triggered by the platform event, I had multiple things subscribed to that platform event. So in this case, I'm subscribing to the standard platform event and saying, rather than just get the error message for this screen flow coming back to me, the system administrator, as an email, and it may take me 10 minutes to look at it. Maybe if the user had that error message in their face straight away, they might have some way of knowing how to fix the issue and move on. So all I'm doing is just sending a notification to the user when that error event happens. So let's make that error happen. I've just created a really basic error thing here. So I've just got a simple screen flow. And when I hit next, it's going to cause an error. Okay, so the user gets this terrible looking error. I don't understand why Salesforce gives us this sort of error. The user can't do anything with it, so they're going to wait for the person who gets the error notification to tell them what's going on. But now I've got a notification here to say, hey, you had an invalid email address. Okay, so and basically what I've just done with this demo is hard-coded garbage value to cause the error to happen. So I've just thrown in here some of the details of what types of things that you can put into the notification. So we've got the API name, the type, well, only happens on flow screens, so there's no other type. It's got, which flow it was, which element. But the thing is, you can see the notification gets cut off. So notifications are lovely, but there's some real issues with them. Okay, one other thing is it gets cut off and you can't see the rest of it. And the other thing, so if you do notifications, just do, basically just do the error. But then, so you click through and it doesn't actually, you can post it to a chatter group. If you wanted to, you could, you could send an email instead of doing the notification. That there's many different ways of doing this. The other real problem with notifications, with every single notification I've done in this demo, is unless the user clicks on that notification bell, they could get, once they get 20 notifications that they haven't read, then they won't get notified anymore because that number won't increase over 20. So there's just no notification. Notifications are basically useless unless the user actually clicks on them every single time they come. And then the other thing is that once you click on here, you can set mark all as read, but there's really not a lot of differentiation between which has been read or not. And so you've got this big list of notifications that you've got, and you don't know whether they've actually been read, actioned, and things like that. So these are notifications, use notifications where it doesn't actually matter that much if they don't. It's great if they're there and they see it, but it doesn't actually matter that much. So that's why important things where, like when the property is sold, that I also do a chatter post. For things that are ephemeral that might be useful, notifications are good, but for all times where you want to sort of have that record, then I would also do a chatter post. So let's have a look at that one that we sold before. This one, waterfront in the city, which is the one we sold. And we can see here, I've also did a chatter post the same as the notification. So that is basically my demo. And so, you know, I've gone through and I've really detailed out some issues. Like this one is a real gotcha. I had this when I first created this, you know, thing where I'm doing these pauses in between the flows. I had a really big bug, went to Salesforce support, and it's like, it's not going to be a known issue and it's not going to be documented. So this is it. This is your documentation. And something to do with if you have a heap, maybe hundreds of pause flow interviews sitting there that haven't been resolved, then at some point in time, those pause flow interviews the resuming from those pause flow interviews via a platform event just won't fire. And even when I'm building this demo, I came across a thing where the platform event just wouldn't fire. So that's the trick here. That's why I've, you know, had all these things where I've added a chatter post on as I'm going to really see that the platform event has fired, because you've got no visibility when the platform event is fired. So on the platform events, you can see which flows are linked to this platform event and what the last process ID is. So each platform event that gets created has this, what they call replay ID. In this case, it's called last process ID here. And we can see here that replay ID here. So you can see that counting up each time the platform event fires. So it's a really good idea when you're building this to have this in the process so that you can see what's happening. You can actually see the platform event happening. Okay, and yeah, you know, and I've got some other things here where I said, yeah, this is not a great example because you know, when a record is deleted, you just got to run the DLRSs. So, you know, just ensure that what you build works for you. This is just an example. I'm just showing you an example here. The external systems, why would we do this? Why would we have the external systems fire a platform event rather than just updating the custom object directly? There's no difference technically, updating custom event or creating a platform, updating custom object or creating a platform event. There's no real technical difference, but this might be a permissions thing where you don't want the integration user to have access to, even via simple things, to have access to the pricing of all the properties, because they have to have access to the pricing field to be able to write to that pricing field. So rather than giving the permissions to any fields and then controlling sharing settings for the integration user, excuse me, on the platform event, sorry, on the custom object, rather than giving access to the integration user on the custom object, you might want to just create a platform event so that only get those fields that they are updating from the external system available to them. So this is what we call, in doing website stuff, is a webhook style thing. So we're exposing a endpoint to that user that is going to update just those 4 fields or 1 field or 10 fields on that endpoint, and that endpoint in this case is a platform event. Now, this is, again, I said this is in my demo, this end user, this integration user was authenticated to Salesforce. But in a real case, if you wanted to have a real webhook, which is almost like a public thing, there's ways of doing it, and I've put some notes down here as to ways of doing it. It's still not the best, Salesforce doesn't have a thing for webhooks directly. You can sort of make it happen. But again, if you're doing a website integration, you really want that user to be authenticated in a proper, secure way. And I've made sure, given you some resources and made sure that you can know all the gotchas there, and you've got the links to the slides there, and I've also done some screenshots of every single thing that I've gone through there. So that's it. That's my demo. I hope that is useful. I hope that just, they've given you 4 different ways here of using platform events in flows that that you will, come back and try, and create a flow that is going to go and create a platform event. So I don't know if we've got any ability for people to ask questions, but oh, we've got some questions popped up.
Yes.
Oh,
so yeah, so if folks have questions, you can post them out on our Trailblazer community, Salesforce Automation Hour, or you can post them here. So I'll just check through the ones that have been posted so far. Also, if you have a process automation question that is not related to Jodie's presentation, you can also post those as well. So first question comes from Aiden. What's creating the platform event record? Is it code from the website?
Okay, in my demo here, I mocked it up as being that I'm the website user creating it, but it would definitely be code, and that's where that's why I showed this code. So this is the REST, using the REST API. I'm authenticated as the integration user, and the website would send an API call over to the platform event. In the case of the first one, where I just updated the website ID for the broker and the sale price, it would be creating that the flow control platform event, passing in the simple value, and passing in the website ID and the broker ID. So we pass over here, create this broker on the website. It's going to have all of these details. The website creates the broker with all these details. It generates its unique ID on the website, and it will send a REST API call back over to Salesforce as a post to the endpoint of /subjects /flow control _ E, which is E standing for the platform event, and it'll pass in those values.
Great. The next question, I think you answered it, but let me just make sure. So it's from Dominic. Thank you for waking up early and sharing your knowledge, Jodie. I will read the blog post, but could you maybe highlight 1 or 2 benefits of using platform events instead of using API Upsert directly into Salesforce?
Yeah, so that is what I covered. There's technically, I don't see there's much difference, right? You can definitely, and you can definitely do an update or an Upsert into a custom object or any standard object. No issue. It's just a REST API call. It is really around ease of configurability or permissions or some other way that you need to structure this access. So this integration user only has very limited access to your system. You only want to give them access to just this one endpoint, or this, the way you are controlling it. You don't want to have a misconfiguration of your system where then you're releasing all of the pricing details of all of your properties and your whole back end to the website because someone set the sharing rules and modified the sharing rules or something like that. So it's really around, for me, it's definitely around your data security.
All right, so as a reminder to folks, if you have a question for Jodie, put it out in the questions area or post it out on the Trailblazer community. Let me do a refresh.
Cool. And I'll jump onto the Trailblazer community, answer any questions. And, as I said, there is so many ways of doing this. This is just one way of examples that I've used in real world scenarios where, it has really helped me to solve a problem with the end goal being, a reasonable user experience. And then just one other thing is, I've put in some notes in my email post where I've done this in a flow for right now, or where I've had to continue in my demo to even use process builders. So we're still not at the point where we can switch over to everything be built, this utopia of building everything in flows and not build any process builders still, because when you've got this sort of thing where you're doing different flows for different reasons and all that sort of stuff, we're just not at the point where we can use flows fully. Mm-hmm. So I've showed you in my notes where I am using a process builder, and one of them is to fire this button. It's been fired by a process builder. Still don't have a great user experience on this starting this process. So if anyone can help me as to how this user experience could be better, I've again documented that in my post. That would be great too if you can help me and give me some more ideas. This is just ideas that I've come up with, so I'd love to hear some more ideas and more discussion about why we use flows. Of course we can code all this too. That's what Salesforce is about. It's about coding, but this is not a discussion that's like, oh, you have to use coding because you're using platform events. This is saying there is always many different ways of doing this. This is a no-code solution that we can use and still get the benefit of using platform events. So that's it. I'm done.
We do have one more question.
Good.
And this is from Paul. Hello, Jodie. Care to tell us about a real-world use case where you have deployed this, and why did you choose this method?
Okay, so the real world use case is a website that is a little bit old. It's not particularly it's not easily customizable. It doesn't have a great API, but I've got it to be able to be authenticated with Salesforce. And the use case is that to create one record, it requires the ID of the parent record. To create the next record, it requires the ID of the parent record. It's not going to do any lookups like we would in Salesforce, that if I send over the third child record, it's going to say, okay, well, let's just go and look up those IDs from Salesforce. Okay, it's not that flexible. Right, so I'd have to ensure that those two parent records that it needs are created on the website first before I even send over that child record, that third child record. Otherwise, it's just going to error. Okay, so this is, I don't want the users having errors from the website. Okay, this is they get very upset that the website just doesn't work when they get errors, but it's just that the website requires this information in very particular way. So the very first scenario where we had the user had to send over the first record, then wait for the website to tell the website that that record was created. Then it had to send over the second record and then wait. And this is not a good user experience for the end users when they're doing this 50 times a day. And so I just needed a way of doing it within one button click. And then when I did that, the website failed because the Salesforce was going too fast for the website and it wasn't getting the IDs. So I needed to have these sort of pause, slow this process down. So it's not slowed down for the users, but it's slowed down for this website that just didn't quite like it. So again, this is all trial and error. Like, how does this, any integration, it's not about the technology of the website, it's about the technology of the platform you're integrating with. It's about, how do you get the best user experience and how do you get the best technical experience from both, from both Salesforce and your system. So I just had to slow this process down. So I just needed to find a way of, how do I know when that record is being updated from the website? So when, at TDX, I think this year, they showed live records, something that is coming. It used to be called cache validation, so but it's now called live records. So the idea is, if an external website updates the record, or anyone externally or anyone internally updates this record that you're on, this record will automatically refresh for you. And this is one of the great advantages of one of the things why we have Lightning, is so we can do these things. Unfortunately, that live records isn't a thing yet. Hopefully it might be coming soon. I don't know. So the user just can't sit there waiting for the website to refresh. So again, that's why we use the notifications. So again, it's just was trial and error as to dealing with, issues, problematic, not really straightforward, simple integrations where we need to sort of make it, smooth it all out, make it all work for the users.
Right. All right. So as we close out, I always like to understand people's journey for automation. So can you tell us how you got started with declarative automation?
I don't like to code. My coding journey on Salesforce has been very checkered, and I can, thanks to Rad Women Code, right? Please, if you go and look up what Rad Women Code is and see whether that's right for you to help you learn to code. I have done the 2 levels of the Rad Women Code now. Thank you to all of the volunteers for that. And in May, during our lockdown, I finally feel like I can code an Apex trigger now. So cool. I will do anything to avoid coding. The other thing is that I work on my own. I help my clients out, and I don't have a big team around me. If I need to, I can really spec code, and I've got some great developers that I work with, and I can really spec it and test it and read it and understand it, and absolutely understand when I need to code and when I don't need to code. But for really simple things where I just need to get something up really quickly, I will always go to the declarative option first. And one of the big reasons is, sometimes clients don't know what they need, or don't know what they want, or don't know what their processes are going to be. We're doing significant change processes, change things for clients. Getting Salesforce or integrating with the website is a significant change in their processes. So it's not about coding up a solution straight away. It's going to require a small not-for-profit or a small business to then have every single time Salesforce does a release, or every single time they change their mind, to have it recoded, especially if we're using external developers. So and so what we've got to do is do something very rapidly, very iteratively, get something up and running. And this is, what we did. First of all, we had 3 different, they had to click 3 different buttons on 3 different records. That's not sustainable. So we work out a better way. And now we're at the point, a year later, where it's just like, even that's not sustainable because it's taken this extra time. So now we're at the point where we need to make some code stuff and make this much more seamless in a code way of doing it. But we've gone through that process. We haven't spent that money on coding back a year ago when they hadn't locked down their processes. So that's really important to me. And so this way of doing things really quickly, iteratively, be able to quickly jump in and fix things, quickly, respond to the user's needs. That's why I do flow mainly. I want to move away from process builders. I hate process builders. I will not move away from workflows at all. Because one of the things I have noted in my document is that paused flow interviews are not good for anything where like you would use time-based workflows for in using workflows. I will never step away from time-based workflows. Just sit there and they just work. Whereas paused flow interviews, if they don't even tell you what record has been created by this pause flow interview. So just don't use them. Just because these things are there does not mean you need to just drop everything, rebuild everything right now. We're not at the point where we can throw our process builders away and rebuild them to flow triggers. There is far too many limitations in flow triggers right now. Maybe within another release or 2, we might be at that point. I'll tell you what, when I can get rid of my process builders in a couple of my big orgs, I will be really happy. And I really do like this new flow builder is just lovely. The experience of building flows now is just lovely. Right? Compared to where it started, this is just a fabulous experience. I would recommend any developer, hardcore developer who says I only want to code, all right, come and look at flows. The fact is that you can build some invocable code into your flows and do that. It's really good. It's fabulous. Do all of that stuff where the company can modify the things that go into that code, and you just have the code doing the bit that it needs to do. But all of the endpoints to it, the controls to it, are in flow that the administrator can modify.
Right.
I could rant for hours on this.
Don't get you started. All right, so we're almost at time. I do highly recommend that you go out to Jodie's wiki. She provides a lot of knowledge and gotchas. I found the one that she did on dynamic forms really helpful. When that first came out, she was very thorough with her analysis and what she found on that. So highly recommend it. When we go and post out on the session, that link will be in her PowerPoint presentation. So definitely go out and check that out. Again, Jodie, thank you for coming on and presenting, and we hope to have you back in the future.
Thank you. And I get to go and have coffee and breakfast now, so this is good.
Yes. Thank you for starting your day off with Automation Hour.
Yeah, thank you. No problem.
All right. Thanks, everybody, and we'll talk to you later.
Bye.
Bye.